If you want different in your life, you have to find the difference in you. You have to be different, to know different, to see different, and to act different. In this video, I'm talking about Mars moving through the final stages of Pisces. And as it does, it's going to move through a conjunction with Neptune before its ingress into its domicile, its home sign of Aries. And we're coming up to a Mars moving through Aries with the node, with Chiron, briefly with Mercury as well. So we're getting a lot of desire onto new action. Okay, the desire to take new action in your life. And then we're moving through Taurus season. And shortly, we're going to have Venus, Jupiter, the Sun, Uranus, all in Taurus, and then Mercury will enter in as well. So in Taurus, we're in physical Earth. We're in the fixed Earth realm. We're in the body. We're in the essential experience of the body. So how do we combine this Mars in the final stages of Pisces, this purification of our Mars, before we move into this new action and embodied new action? So what does it mean to embody the new action, to embody the changes, in your desire, your actions, your behavior? It creates the space for tremendous change within your physical reality. And that's what I want to talk about in this video, is Mars and the purification, with Mars moving at the final sign, final part of Pisces, and moving through a conjunction with Neptune. The interesting thing about Mars and Neptune is they're not really compatible energies. Mars deals in the here and the now and the desire and action, the desire to be, to do, to change, to act, to move in this world. We're motivated, we're assertive, we're direct, we have drive, we have energy, and we are taking action. If you are doing anything in this world, you are doing it with Mars energy. Mars is the motivator and the actor. So in other words, we are acting, we are taking action with our Mars. And what drives action is desire at a certain level. What we want to do with Mars is we want to establish the difference between lower desire and higher desire. And we get this opportunity with Mars moving through Neptune because the functions of Neptune is to transcend, to dissolve the connection to the physical or the lower self, and to help us transcend. Now, Neptune, when it does dissolve reality or the lower self, can lead us into a little bit of uncertainty, can cause this sort of phase of illusory action where we sort of get a little bit lost. Now, if we act out on the lost side of things, we can have a desire to escape. So because these alignments are happening in Pisces, be very mindful of your desire to escape at the moment. Over the next few days, the desire to escape into indulgence. With Pisces, the indulgence may be drugs or alcohol, to get high, to get wasted, to just, fuck it, who cares? It may be the desire to escape into unhealthy eating or unhealthy habits. It might be the desire to escape into social media land with the doom scrolling, or into reality TV or Netflix. So these things are not necessarily negative or bad, but they do tend to enforce the desires of the lower self. Okay, and when we're acting through the lower self, we're moving away from our higher self. So we're tending to get more of the experiences that keep us stuck in the paradigm that we're in, rather than evolving to the ideal that we desire. So we've got to be mindful over the next few days of that type of quality coming through. This is a really good time for meditation. This is a good time to pull back on external stimulation, and to dig within, to find deep within your deep inspiration. The inspiration for the ideal you, the ideal life, the dream you. Who did you come here to be? What reality did you come here to experience? If you've gone through your awakening journey, you're getting to that phase now where you're like, well, the world's fucked. It's run by fucking maniacs. It's a game being played. Everyone's in on it at a high level. They've corrupted and conditioned people to accept it, to go along with it. So what the hell is this realm we're living in? So if we're too externally focused, we can feed into the negative quality of Pisces and become a little bit despaired or helpless. You know, what's the point? Might as well just get drunk. What's the point? Nothing's going to change. Okay. So when that happens, the system is winning. The system is beating you. And you're acting from your lower desire to stay in the same situation. And you're blaming the external system and you're in victim mode. And then you're completely powerless to do anything about it. The action function of Mars is turned towards the lower self desires, and you overindulge, you escape, you avoid, you distract, you blame, you victimize, and therein lies the trap, and the system wins. So at this point, be very aware of the types of tendencies, motivations, or desires that you might have that want to take you down those pathways, and exercise a little bit of restraint. Purification is really good at this point in time. Purifying your diet, drinking lots of water, being in the water, but purifying your mind and the distractions of the mind, because the mind can wander. It can be a useful ally or a wicked foe. You know, Mercury is the magician and the trickster. So the mind can take us in all sorts of places. So you know, become aware of the thoughts, become aware of the mind and its, you know, power to overwhelm, and come back and find some grounding at the moment and purification. Now, with Mars coming into conjunction with Neptune, we are being called to evolve our desire, to transform our actions into alignment with our highest self. When we make small changes to our behavior and our actions in alignment to our highest self, we will start to see the change and evolution of the soul, and we'll start to move towards the types of experiences that are in alignment with our ideals, why we came here, who we are supposed to be. You need to realize that you are here for true personal salvation, to save yourself. When you start to act different, be different, do different, you are now moving into the change that you came here to experience, and you are your own savior. The world isn't going to do it. Trump isn't going to do it. Aliens aren't going to do it. A solar flare is not going to do it. War is not going to do it. The collapse of the economy is not going to do it. All these things aren't going to do any of that for you. They're external events that are basically meaningless. They're distractions. So you are here to make the changes. And when you act in accordance with your higher self, you challenge the egoic hold that you have on your identity to your lower self. And therein lies the transcendence that's possible with the Mars-Neptune conjunction, is to transcend the lower self desires, transcend the lower self actions. If you are doing things in your life at the moment that you know that are not helpful for you, and they perpetuate your identity to your victim state, your past, what happened to you, the world's fucked, what's the point, the toxic patriarchy, whatever the situation, and you have behavior and habits that reinforce that, you're stuck in the lower self, and you're basically losing the game, the matrix winning. You're staying trapped within it. And the reason is because, look, what's the point? Look outside, look at everything else. So I might as well just be that. Okay, so the first step is to become aware that that's even happening. Just bring some awareness. Okay, what am I doing that's not helpful? What behaviors, what habits, what actions do I have that reinforce my negative paradigm, or my dysfunctional self-image, or my identity with, you know, victim or blame or past or something or someone else is, you know, at the cause? Just becoming aware of those things. And then it's to find your deep inspiration and say, okay, if I had the power to change and it was all on me, and it was not only my power, but it was a possibility that I could be different. And in order for me to be different, I would have to act in accordance with my highest self. What would the highest version of you do? If you reached your ideal, if you reached your dream life, if you became the person you came here to become, what actions, what behaviors, what desires does that personal version of you have? And realize that you can move into alignment with those things slowly. You slowly evolve into that version of you by doing the things that version of you would do, by being that person. Human being, who are you being? Are you being this person or are you being that person? What habits and desires and actions reinforce the person you are now being, as opposed to what habits and actions and desires reinforce the person you desire to become? And now is the time to sort of find within you the inspiration to say, right, okay, the world's fucked, I'm awake, what the hell do I do? I move in alignment to my highest version of my highest self. I act and do in accordance to them. Now, you might, with Mars-Neptune conjunction, you might get overwhelmed at the work ahead of you, at the mountain you need to climb. So I want to illustrate an easy way to sort of think about this, is that if you imagine at the top of a summit is the ideal you and the ideal life that you came here to live, right? Whatever that is for you, and it's unique and different and specific for everyone. So don't try and mold yourself onto someone else. Find your desire from within. There is a knowing. When you go through your awakening, you start to realize this isn't who I came here to be. This isn't who I came here to, this isn't how I came here to live. There's more, you know that. That's just part of the awakening journey. And you look around the world and go, what the fuck is all this shit? And everyone's just pretending to be someone they're not. So I might as well pretend to be the person I want to be, other than the person I've been programmed to be. So you may put that person at the top of the summit, and you might be right now at the base camp, looking up at that and thinking, wow, that's a long climb. How do I move in that direction? How do I become that? Now, it can overwhelm you if the distance between where you are and where that is huge. And ultimately, it's probably an eternal drive towards enlightenment at some point. But in this life, in this physical body, you have a desire to become who you were born to be. And first, we want to establish, what does it look like and feel like on that summit? And this is where the imagination function of Neptune comes into its power, because a Neptune allows us to dissolve the boundaries of reality, and imagination does just that. We can close our eyes and dream ourselves into our ideal. Right? So enhance that image of your ideal. Feel yourself into it. What does that look like? What does life look like? What do I look like? What does the world around me look like? What are the types of habits and behaviors that reinforce that state of being? Now you might look to where you are and go, well, that's a massive climb. Okay, so the way to sort of approach that is, okay, look, that person is doing yoga and meditation every morning for an hour. And I look into my life at the moment and I am not doing any yoga or meditation. But I know if I'm in my ideal, that's what I want to do. That's what I would be doing. And now in my reality, I'm not doing it at all. Where a lot of people come undone too quickly is they try and start now where they are doing yoga and meditation for an hour every day, because that's what they're doing. And the problem with that is, if the gap between where you are and what you desire or your ideal is so big and you start to climb really quickly, you can take on too much, too fast, too soon, and overwhelm yourself. And 3 to 4, 5 days in, you're like, oh, I'm not having any effect. This doesn't feel good. It's too much. I haven't got the time. All of the lower self is trying to pull you back, trying to hold you to where you are. So rather than say, okay, I'm going to do yoga meditation every day because that's what my ideal's doing, say I'm going to do yoga and meditation for half an hour every 3 days. Now I am moving in the direction of my ideal self, and I'm moving at a speed and a rate that's achievable, taking small incremental changes. You might find that after a month, you can increase that. We might find after 3 months, you can increase that. And all of a sudden, in a very short period of time, you're doing yoga meditation for an hour every week. You are doing the very thing that the ideal person that you're doing. Apply that same methodology, to what you eat, to the time you do, like how you get up in the morning, your routine, what you keep, your exercise, how you socialize, what information that you focus on. Think now in terms of the ideal and think, okay, what am I doing that's out of alignment, that's taking me away from my sun? What is in complete opposition to my ideal self that I'm currently doing in my life? What habits, what automatic habits, desires and behaviors do I have at the moment that are taking me in the opposite direction of my ideal? Become aware of those. That can be quite confronting because it's like a big ego kick up the ass and you're like, fuck, I'm never going to get to the top if I keep doing this. So in this process, what's happening for you is you're finding some inspiration. You're finding the inspiration. When you find the inspiration, you can find that will within you that trumps motivation. When you're inspired, you take action in direction of your inspiration. You use tremendous willpower, because what's happening after this Mars conjunction with Neptune, we move Mars into Aries. Mars in a time sign of Aries. Aries is about cardinal fire, initiation, impulse, a new action, new beginning. You have the opportunity to really take some massive leaps and strides in the direction of your ideal life, your ideal self, to become who you were born to be. And now is the point now where we're purifying our current actions, behaviors, and desires. It can be a little bit of a nightmare. You know, Neptune can sort of take us to the transcendent euphoric highs and also to the really depths and the lows of despair and overwhelm and delusion. So you might be becoming aware and be like, whoa, I got a real fucking ego check. And like, I've lost my way. I've wandered off my path. I've become lost, which is another theme of Neptune and Pisces. Lost your way. So that's okay. First part is to recognize that you're lost. You're off your path. You're way off course. Wouldn't it be good if there was a map that you could sort of go, whoa, well, where am I? And how do I get back on my path? Well, there is such a map. It's called your birth chart. It's literally your birth chart. And this is where the beauty of astrology is at its best, is that when you're lost, you have a map to rediscover where you are and how to get back on track. And that map is your map. It's very unique, very specific. And it holds so many keys to so many doors. All you got to do is ask the right questions. And that's where someone like myself, a professional astrologer, can help you just do that. So if you're feeling a little overwhelmed or lost, or if you have a little bit of an idea, but then you're looking at your life and going, whoa, I don't know where to start, it's too much, or I don't know where to begin. Well, come back to your chart. Let's just look to where you are right now. What patterns are holding you in this current situation? And how do we free ourselves from those patterns? How do we shift our awareness? How do we heal? How do we let go? Right? Imagine that when you're at base camp looking up to your ideal life, there are some anchors and chains that hold you down to that being, that identity, that person, that reality. And some of those are conscious. We know, all right, I'm doing this. I shouldn't be doing it. I know it's bad for me, but I can't stop. Okay, so they're the chains you can see. Some of the chains, they're unconscious. You've become a certain way. You identify with a certain state of being that holding you there, and you're not even aware that you're doing it. Some of the beauty of those chains is that they can be revealed through your birth chart. And we can help you find the key to unlock those chains. Because the heaviness you feel stuck in the reality that you're in, with the inability to climb to the top of the ideal, can be a lot released when you let go of those unconscious chains that hold you to where you are. And naturally, when you let go, you don't feel so heavy. It's one thing to have the inspiration to get to where you want to be, but then to have the will and motivation to act in that alignment to that. If you're weighed down and you're chained down, you're heavy to where you're stuck. Well, first we need to work on freeing you a little bit. So if it's you and you're in that situation, I encourage you, tune in for a session. If you're not, familiar with the symbology of astrology, you need a professional to help guide you. What I would exercise caution with, a lot of people find their birth chart and then they go and look at certain placements up in books and online and things like that, and they can be overwhelmed even more because they're trying to fit themselves into what that means. And that's really the ask about tip way to do astrology. You have a birth chart, but you are not your birth chart. So don't try and fit yourself into your birth chart. The birth chart is a tool to help understand who you already are. The birth chart isn't doing any of this to you. You are this way through your experience on Earth and through different lifetimes, you become this person. So you are this way. The chart just helps understand, how is this? Who is this? Why is this? So then we can use the chart to help you bring awareness and light to the parts that you can't see, and all of a sudden you have a shift in your awareness and perception, and then you can make the changes you need to evolve, to move in the direction of your summit. So then Mars, in the next few days, by Wednesday next week, will move into Aries, and we have this real powerful, potent Mars with the node, with Chiron as well. So action that's going to help us do some healing, some deep healing. Because one thing is we can heal emotionally from the past, but then we have to start taking action. Because often, if we've had an emotional experience or hurt from the past, we've developed behaviors to protect us from those feelings. We process the feelings, and now we have to work on changing the behaviors that we have become or do that keep us trying to avoid the hurt and the pain. Once we've healed it, we don't need to do that anymore. And a lot of those behaviors, although they may have kept us safe from the feelings we're avoiding, actually aren't very good for us. Okay, so we need to overcome those behaviors and patterns. So the healing with regards to Mars in Aries and Chiron in Aries, the healing is actually doing differently. I see a lot of people that do a lot of meditation, they do a lot of, work with healers and things like that, and they get so much clarity and insight and awareness, but they don't do anything about it. And they think, but just by knowing that that's going to be the key. And if you know it, but you don't do it, you're a know-it-all. If you want to become a wise sage, you have to take your knowing and put it into doing. And when you put knowing and doing together, you become wise. There's a reason why knowing is Aquarius and doing is Capricorn, and both are ruled by Saturn, the boss, the authority. You want to become the authority in your life. You want to become the wise master of your life, so that you can not only recognize where you're at, you can also recognize what's keeping you there. You can recognize the steps that you need to take to get you where you need to be. And it's not going to be a massive climb. It's just going to be done in the daily habits. It's becoming someone different every day. That's how you reach the top. It's not trying to sort of put it off in 10 years' time. It's doing it today. And if you want to be the wise sage to be able to know that you have the power to do that, you have to take your knowing, your Aquarian knowing, your awareness, your awakening, all the last 5, 10, 20 years of your awakening, this awareness shift. You have to take it into action, into Capricorn. I do. I know and I do, and I am now. There's a reason why those signs are together. The only 2 signs of the zodiac that are together is Aquarius and Capricorn, both ruled by Saturn. Okay, you want to become the wise master, the Saturn, the authority of your life, the boss of your life. You have to take your knowing and your doing it, put it together. With Mars moving now into Aries, there's a time for new action. What new action are you ready to take? Now, you could be pissed off and reactive and volatile and, but look, this is happening, but look, they're doing this, but look, the economy, but look. Now, the system is taking control and you are now outside in. So you're blaming the outside world for where you are. And yeah, it sucks. We all have that right. When we wake up, we have that right to be pissed, and we have that right to sort of go, what the fuck? But that doesn't change a thing. It doesn't change anything. What changes is you. When you act different, be different. When you show up different. When you do different. If I know and I don't do, I'm a know-it-all. I got to become the wise sage that does it all. Now is the time to act on that. And then with the sun in Taurus, the embodiment. Because when your actions and behaviors are in alignment with your ideal, that is embodiment. When your actions and behaviors are out of alignment, you're out of integrity, but you know you should be doing that, but you're not. You're choosing this instead of doing that. There's no embodiment. And we all know with this beautiful, rise of social media, which is so fantastic and also completely fucking at the same time, we all see the disembodied guys, the gurus, the know-it-alls out there proclaiming to be into all these things, but they're not embodying their truth. They're not embodying their knowing. They're not embodying their wisdom. Now is the time for you to be able to embody that in a big way. And with the Taurus quality here, the gift with Venus moving into Taurus, with Jupiter in Taurus, the two benefics in Taurus, bringing us gifts to the here and the now and the present moment. Gifts will show up through embodied action. They will start to show up. True profound changes and the deep embodied realization that you can be the change, that you can change the world around you, that you can save yourself. That's what's on the line at the moment. That's what's on the line at the moment. Don't forget that. As we move into this Mars into Aries and Venus into Taurus, Venus is square into our Pluto. So there's some tension to really change the values that underpin our life and our actions and our desires. What are the values? Do you value your current life more or comfort more than the dream, the ideal? Do you value it more? Because if you do, you need a radical change to your value system in order for you to be able to take the change. Otherwise, you're just going to stay stuck because I kind of like this complacency into this part of my life. So the transformation or the tension to change your values or to reevaluate. When we really deeply connect with our true and authentic self, and we measure that version of ourselves against our current version of ourselves, our current ego or identity, sometimes we need a real reevaluation to say, okay, well, I'm acting in accordance to my current ego, not my actual true authentic self. And my true authentic self's in more alignment to my ideal self. So I need to reevaluate and act in accordance to that version of myself. I need to become that person. And when you become the person that lives in that reality, when you become that person who lives in that reality starts to manifest around you. And the changes in the physical world you'll see will just start showing up for you. So now's the time to get inspired, dig deep, to purify, to commit to making the changes, to amplify the ideal, and then to start to move in that direction. Mars moves over Neptune over the next couple of days. As we move into next week, which is Wednesday, the 1st of May, Mars will be into Aries. So we're on the 28th of May now. We've got a few days and then Mars moving into Aries. This is the purification of Mars as desire and action. Okay. Are you going to let it overwhelm you and then cause the desire and action to avoid and escape and to go and do the same things and to continue to stay stuck and victimize and blame? Or are you going to purify that and move in the direction of your ideal? In spite of tremendous odds and challenges and obstacles that we face in our outer world, of course, they're not going to go away. But that shouldn't deter you from being the change, from taking the action. As always, my name is Luke Bell from Astro Awakening. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up. Make sure you share it around. If you'd like to get a one-on-one session, I read for people all over the world. And I have an act to be able to see the real you through the lens of your chart. And if you want a real sort of shake up of your reality at the moment, and you want to become deeply aware of some of the chains that hold you down and some of the patterns that you can move in towards alignment to that are really be beneficial and helpful, then tune in for a birth chart reading. Until next time, peace out.